Prong collars are one of these controversial tools that when people see them, they avoid them. They think a lot of things. There's quite a bit of nastiness in the dog training community about prong collars. If you've not, if you just got a dog and you've never trained a dog before, I don't recommend going and getting a prong collar without really quite a bit of education about what they do. But I'll tell you this, it's been my experience over these past 14 years, and now that we're using this particular brand of prong collars, I have never actually seen an injury with a prong collar. Now, no, I'm not a veterinarian, but we do see lots and lots of dogs. I have seen cases on social media where dogs are wearing these and they just keep wearing them. Like the negligent people never, ever, ever take the prong collar off of the dog. And that is horrible. And if you're watching my show right now, whenever, and your dog constantly wears a prong collar and it never comes off, please, please, please take that prong collar off your dog. Make sure that you're sizing it properly because it can really injure your dog. But apart from that, with your prong collar, okay, this is a Herm Springer prong collar, and really what it's designed to do is it's designed to work the way that a dog's mouth works. When we're talking about a dog's mouth, what the teeth actually do is when they close all the way, they actually close like this. It's a scissor bite, and the teeth go all the way through, and it's very, very powerful, okay? When you actually use a prong collar on a dog, okay, it cannot close all the way because of the limitation that the chain on the top puts. When you go buy a prong collar, you need to take a look at the tips of the prong collar. This is a Herm Springer. If the tips are not rounded, I do not recommend using that prong collar because you can scrape and you can cut your dog with that prong collar. You really can't do that with one of these. So the question was, when do I use them? Okay. I'm going to tell you when I use them, and I'm going to give you a little bit more detail. I use them when I put a slip leash on a dog, which looks a lot like this. When I put a slip leash on a dog and I begin to move the dog around, and I notice that the dog is resisting the slip leash quite a bit as I try to give them guidance with it, and they keep resisting, and then maybe when I'm setting boundaries, that I use the tool and the dog can't figure out that that's where I'm putting the boundary, I probably won't continue using the slip leash for very long because even though it looks like a gentle tool, it can actually be very, very powerful. And two more things. It doesn't actually do a good job of making dogs uncomfortable, which sounds kind of strange, but it will injure them. We actually want some of our training tools to make dogs uncomfortable, but we don't want those tools to ever injure the dog. Being uncomfortable is a very normal emotion. Nobody likes feeling discomfort, but when you sense discomfort, you tend to move away from the things that create it. A prong collar is a very safe way to do that, and the reason is it doesn't choke a dog. It puts pressure at certain points. As a 3mm prong collar, which is what I have here, the prong collar will actually be very gentle with the dog, but it will also be very clear, okay? Now, when do I not recommend using a prong collar? I don't recommend using a prong collar when you've got a 10, a 15-foot line on the dog, and you've got a dog that has a tendency to bolt. That could really be very, very uncomfortable and actually painful for the dog if you're using a very long line with a prong collar. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If you're using a 2¼ mm prong collar, which is the size that's smaller than this on a long line, that's the situation that I altogether avoid. The 3mm on a 5 to 10-foot line, I feel pretty comfortable handling that, but I really don't let a lot of my clients handle that unless they're actually beginning to become savvy and actually have a dog that understands some other things as well. So prong collars can be really great tools. If you've never used them, I don't recommend starting off with one. But if you have a dog that's constantly pulling, is always choking themselves on the leash, will never, and makes walks miserable, then it's time to get one of these tools involved because it can really help the dog stop choking itself and really learn one of the things that you want it to do, which is to not pull on the leash.